Put some money in your new Investment for Fortune account. Today. Start reading with intensity for your new Wealth of Mind plan. Today. Write a postponed letter today. Make a delayed telephone call today. Pick up your camera and take a picture of something to start your new treasury of photographs today. Get some momentum going on your new commitment to the better life. See how many activities you can pile on in this first day.
This journey that I'm on, and knowing that the distance ahead for me is shorter than the distance I have come thus far. I want you to write this down, please. Write this down. And that is, live with a sense of urgency. Live with a sense of urgency. And people that are living with a sense of urgency, they spend their time doing things that's them. This, what I'm doing now, this is me.
It takes such a desperate, obsessive focus to excel on the level that I want to make movies. You know, I was Star Wars. When I was young, I sat in the movie theater and watched Star Wars, and I just couldn't believe that movie made me feel like that, just floored and just stunned by the creativity. And just, I'm realizing that in order to move people in that way, in order to touch people in that way, you really got to focus.
I remember back to what my principal said, 'cause I went to the principal when they wrote it on my car and in my notebook, and the best advice he can give me, God help his soul, was this: they're ignorant. And so but honestly, I talked to the guy as I wrote my book, and I have nothing wrong with Principal Freeman. I actually interviewed him for the book, and he was happy to interview. He's a good man. What you could tell some black kid, you're a white guy in white society, we could tell him.
You know, you kind of have this idea that a chimpanzee troop is driven, let's say, by the most dominant, powerful male, the most aggressive, cruel, tyrannical chimpanzee dominates. And that isn't what Franz de Waal found. What he found was that in order that those sorts of chimpanzee troops have leaders that meet very violent ends, because no matter how tyrannical you are as top chimp, two chimps 3/4 your size can take you out. And they will. And chimpanzees are unbelievably brutal.
I think about how many times I've closed the door. I didn't think something would work out, and God came through my doubt, through my fear, through what I thought was impossible. When we wanted to build a new auditorium, twice the land we found was sold out from under us. The first time it happened, I was certain that was the enemy trying to take our property. I kept praying, believing, hoping.
You got to understand that this hard time that you're going through is everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. Every trial and tribulation you go through prepares you for the life God has for you. All the hard times. First of all, let me just say just one last thing. Now I got to take this picture. You cannot name one single thing that God has not brought you through.
Stay clean. Everyone say stay clean. For whoever would love life and see good days must keep his tongue from evil and his lips from deceitful speech. He must turn from evil and do good. He must seek peace and pursue it. Ooh, that's good. Let me just tell you something right now. Many of us, we continue to suffer because we don't have control of our mouth. You either control your mouth or your mouth is going to control you.
It's only because you have a job that you're able to survive. Most of us want more than what we already have. But the fact that you do have, and you're being mean, you have an attitude, everything about what you've been doing is basically self-sabotage. You're trying to, it's like, okay, here's a blessing, here's an opportunity right here in front of me. I'm gonna use my charm to get in the door, and then I'm gonna become an asshole. Self-sabotage, self-defeat.
Here's how you change. 5 simple, quick steps, and then I'm going to give you a little tool that if you want to, you can go online and really make a change with. If you're going to change your life, step 1, I don't care if something has happened to you. You know, somebody has spilled oil all over where you fish. It's disgusting how they dealt with it, but it's happened. You got to deal with it. Something's happened. Someone in your family's been injured. You've lost your job. I don't care what the problem is. If you're in a crisis, step number 1, see it as it is.
It doesn't move God, and he's basically just saying, when are you going to shut up and start acting like you really believe me? Amen? Now, there's a time to sit down and tell God how you feel, but then that should take you about 2 or 3 minutes, and then you need to go back to the Word of God. People who did things by faith. I mean, some pretty outrageous things. Abel brought his best offering by faith.
When she touched him, immediately her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was free from her suffering. She was already free. Why'd he call her back? Not to reprimand her? Maybe he called her back to give her a little bit more money or a little bit more details, or maybe to give her a little extra help. So I read that over and over again. Somebody say, I'm not what I thought. You remember how she snuck up and said, if I touch it, and then I sneak away?
That fear generally is in your mind.
Yeah.
That, you know, when you get up on stage to do a public speaking, people are not going to throw tomatoes at you and say, oh my, you're an idiot, get off the stage. No,
right.
They're going to sit there, you know, so there's nothing to fear.
Yeah.
It's in your head. Rome wasn't built in a day. We all know that. Everyone hears that. But Rome also didn't fall apart overnight either.
I want you to start to think about next year. Let's just pick June 2021, okay? It's enough time to think that things might be a little bit different. What could the current you do right now that will bring you closer and start to close the gap with the future you? That's the power of your dreams, is they pull you forward. They make you think beyond the circumstance. They remind you of who you are. And so start with what you value. Start with the stuff you don't like that's happening right now in your life.
Go all out. Break away from the negative downward pull of gravity. Start the thrusters going. Prove to yourself that waiting is over, hoping is past, and that faith and action have now taken charge. It's a new day, a new beginning for your new life.
If your comfort zone is this big and you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you'll fail. In order to succeed in life, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. But I want to tell you something about yourself. All of you are equipped to live outside of your comfort zone. See, a lot of people are afraid to jump. A lot of people are afraid to take chances. A lot of people are afraid to put things up for risk. And you shouldn't be. Now, you can be afraid, but you should learn how to go ahead anyhow. See, because let me show you something about yourself. For all the bad days you've ever had, for every day that you thought you wasn't going to get through, for every period in your life you did not see no way you could come out on the other side, your track record for surviving them bad days is 100%. You have survived every single one of them. Your track record for surviving bad days, y'all, is 100%. And that's pretty good. You can't name one bad day you ain't got through. I have a life of convenience now. But in order to get the life of convenience, you got to have a very uncomfortable life. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stop trying to do everything the short way. Stop trying to figure out the easy way. You got to get messed up sometime. You got to get dirty. You got to get your feelings hurt. You got to get disappointed. You got to get told no. You're going to ask somebody for some money. He going to tell you no. But show me something that has grown into something beautiful that didn't have no dirt on it. You take a seed and throw it on the concrete. Don't put no dirt on it and watch what happens. See, you get tripped out because you got dirt on you. But you need dirt on you to develop. Because dirt ain't just dirt. Dirt is fertilizer. Dirt is nutrients. Dirt gives you the strength for your seed to push through. See, you got to have dirt on you to push through something. Everything you see that's beautiful starts out as a seed, but that seed got to get dirt on it. See, you get mad when haters come your way. You get mad because you get a setback. You get mad because you get thrown off course. You get mad because you get a detour. That's just dirt. You get mad because they talking about you. That's dirt. You get mad because you lost your mama. That's dirt. I want you to think about all them bad moments you had that looked like you wasn't going to make it. And then I want you to ask yourself, well, why did I make it? Just change your mindset. If you change your attitude, you change your altitude.
My suggestion to all young people, if you could just hear me clearly, don't do what I did. Mess off all of their 20s. From 20 to 29, they just jack it off. They just jack off their 20s. They mess them up. Because 20 is that age, man, where you just really just trying to have too much fun. You're free, you're out of college, you don't live at your mama's house no more, you're out on your own. So what do? Mostly all of us, 98% of the people I know, we spend our 20s trying to exert ourselves in the fun category. We got to get off work so we can go to happy hour. We got to get off work so we can go get high. We got to get off work so we can go drink a cold. We got to get off work, go smoke one. We got to go hang out with the fella. We got to play video games. The average person blows all of their 20s. Then when you find out that life ain't waiting on you, now you're 30. Now guess what happens to mostly all of us, including myself? I spent all of my 30s trying to do the things that I should have been doing in my 20s. So now my life is behind. Now you look up and you're 40s. You in your 40s. And now you're trying to do the things and have the things that you could have had in your 30s, man, had you just done what you should have did in your 30s. And then the tragedy starts to occur. You look up and you're 50. Now that don't mean it's too late for you, because it wasn't too late for me. But you look up and you're 50. And now all of a sudden, all through your 50s, you trying to create and have a life that you could have created and had in your 30s.
My hero. That's who I chase. Now, when I was 15 years old, I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, who's your hero? And I said, I don't know, I got to think about that. Give me a couple of weeks. I come back 2 weeks later. This person comes up and says, who's your hero? I said, I thought about it. You know who it is? I said, it's me in 10 years. So I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and goes, so are you a hero? And I was like, not even close. No. She said, why? I said, because my hero is me at 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero is always 10 years away. I'm never going to be my hero. I'm not going to attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me, because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing. I'm going to talk to you about some things I've learned in my journey. Most from experience. Some of them I heard in passing. Many of them I'm still practicing, but all of them I do believe are true. Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. And yes, most things are more rewarding when you break a sweat to get them. Happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. If I win, I will be happy. If I don't, I won't. And I say, if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently, and you're going to be unhappy much of your time. Joy, though, joy is a different thing. It's something else. Joy is not a choice. It's not a response to some result. It's a constant. Joy is the feeling that we have from doing what we are fashioned to do, no matter the outcome. Now, personally, as an actor, I started enjoying my work and literally being more happy. Define success for yourself. Now, check this out. I'm in south of New Orleans a few years ago, and I went to a voodoo shop. And they had this wooden partition against the wall with these columns. And in these columns were all these vials of these magic potions, right? And the headings above each potion defining what they would give you were things like fertility, health, family, legal help, energy, forgiveness, money. Guess which column was empty? Money. Let's admit it. Money is king today. It's what makes the world go round. It is success. The more we have, the more successful we are, right? Now, I would argue that our cultural values have even been financialized. Humility is not in vogue anymore. It's too passive. It's a get rich quick on the internet, rich is 15 minutes of fame world that we live in, and we see it every day. But we all want to succeed, right? So the question that we got to ask ourselves is what success is to us, what success is to you.
It's easy when you finally find yourself in a good job to stop pursuing mental development. Have you heard about the accelerated learning curve? From birth up until the time we are about 18, our learning curve is dramatic, and our capacity to learn during this period is just staggering. We learn a tremendous amount very fast. We learn our language, our culture, our history, science, mathematics, everything. But guess when this learning curve starts to taper off? When we get our first job, usually. Now sometimes, for some people it will continue, but sure enough, here's where it usually levels off. If there are no more exams to take, if there's no demand to get out paper and pencil, why read any more books? Now you will just learn by some experience, just getting out there and by doing it wrong and doing it right and stumbling around. You learn some. But can you imagine what would happen if you kept an accelerated learning curve all the rest of your life? Can you imagine what you could learn to do, the skills you could develop, the capacities you could have? So here's what I'm asking you to do. Be that unusual person who keeps up his learning curve. Succeeding in life is not usual. It's unusual. You need to develop some unusual habits to earn the outstanding rewards. A friend of mine said, a standard education will get you standard results. You want a lot more than standard results? You need to become a lot more than a standard person. And now I've got some more good news for you. Never before in the history of the world has it been easier for someone like you or me to become educated, skilled, highly creative, innovative, and spilling over with profitable ways of thinking. I'm talking about making full use of audio cassettes like the one you're listening to now. You can turn your automobile into a professional growth seminar on wheels. I'm serious. Cassettes can turn the time you spend driving your car, dressing in the morning, or exercising into solid, effective personal development. While your friends are vegetating on the way to work, listening to the radio that doesn't help them one bit to do a better job, you're picking up new negotiating skills, better sales technique, or a new creative way to solve problems. Keep building your library of fine, quality cassette resources. There isn't a better place you can put a few dollars every month. Become a student of good ideas, wherever they can be found. Always be on the lookout for a good idea. Start with all the things you can do to make your life better and make you feel better about yourself. Make a list. Life will give you some pretty big challenges if you can handle the small ones. But unless you practice on the small ones and master those, you don't have a chance for the major one. A man strides out of his house to go straighten out the corporation, and he has not yet straightened out his garage. Who's kidding who? So work on all the disciplines that will improve the quality of your life. And here's an important thought. Everything affects everything else. Every lack of discipline affects every other discipline. Mistakenly, the man says, "This is the only place I let down." See, that's not true. Every letdown affects the rest of your performance. Now here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects every other discipline. Every new thing you try affects the rest of your performance. Isn't that exciting? So get started on every small discipline you can think of. You can't believe what it will do for your self-confidence. And remember, the greatest deterrent to success is lack of self-confidence. And lack of self-confidence comes from not doing what you could do. Next comes self-motivation. And really, it's the only kind of motivation there is. Self-motivation. I was on a lecture tour in Australia not long ago, and the press interviewed me. And they asked me, "Mr. Rohn, are you one of those American motivators?" I said, "No, I'm a businessman. I can share my ideas and my experiences, but people have to motivate themselves." Hey, I found out you can't change people. They can change themselves, but you can't change them. Lord knows, I've tried. I had a super group of salespeople back in those early days, and I said, I'm going to make them successful if it kills me. Guess what? I almost died. You can't do that. In management, we learn good people are found, not changed. If you want good people, you have to find them. That's the best answer I can give you. If you want motivated people, you have to find them, not motivate them. The first rule of management is don't send your ducks to Eagle School. Why? Because it won't work. I've tried it all. I picked up a magazine not long ago in New York, which had a full-page ad in it for a hotel chain. The first line of the ad read, "We do not teach our people to be nice." Now that got my attention. And the second line said, "We simply hire nice people." I thought, what a clever shortcut. Motivation is a mystery. Why some people are and some are not. Why does one person in sales see his first prospect at 7 in the morning and the other salesperson sees his first prospect at 11 in the morning? Why would one start at 7 and the other start at 11? I don't know. I call it mysteries of the mind. I give a lecture to 1,000 people. One walks out and says, "I'm going to change my life." Someone else walks out with a yawn and says, "I've heard all this stuff before." Why is that? Why aren't they both affected the same? I don't know. I call it mysteries of the mind.
I'm gonna have to get another mentor. I'm gonna have to start using other people as examples. Somebody interviewed me one time, saw a picture with me and Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby got my sons in Morehouse. This lady said, "You're still friends? How could you be friends with Bill Cosby?" I said, "Because we was friends." "How could you be friends with a man like that?" "I ain't know none of this. What is you talking to me for? I got the news when you got the news. He ain't never saying nothing to me about this. I had never heard of this." "Well, are you still friends with him?" I said, "Yeah." "I find that despicable." I stopped and I said, "Man, can I ask you something? You ain't got no friends ever done something real messed up?" My brother did something real messed up one time. He's still my brother. Still went on there to see him. I got friends that done something messed up. I got a partner in jail doing 3 life sentences. Still holler at him. He called me the other day. I'm waiting on him. "You have a collect call from State Penitentiary." I didn't hear that. "Steve, what's up?" I said, "Man, what's happening?" "Man, it's me, dog." I said, "Man, what's happening? You out?" He said, "No." I said, "What you calling me on?" "I got a cell phone." Click. "I gotta hang this phone up, because when they find that cell phone, they can't trace numbers and all of a sudden Steve Harvey numbers show up. I can't talk to this fool in here doing 3 life sentences with no damn cell phone. I had to change my number. Man, you got to be crazy. You can't call me. You're doing 3 life sentences. I'm famous. I can't be talking to you." Then he gonna call my other partner. "Man, I can't believe Steve hung up on me." What is it that you can't believe? So yeah, Bill Cosby was still my friend, but he taught me something. He said, "Steve, when you have the ability to make people laugh, you have their undivided attention." He said, "Once you have their undivided attention, you can slide them messages, but you gotta be smart with the messages you slide." So I decided once I got out of comedy, what message could I slide them and still do my comedy? What better message than faith and hope? While you sitting in this room trying to get to the next level, listen to me. There will be no more levels for you unless you get to the next level of your faith. There ain't no more levels for you, partner. You where you at. But listen to me. Quick, you know why I didn't want to be a person of faith? Because I was afraid that God was going to have me doing something that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go knocking on doors. Jesus loves you. People hiding behind couches, treating me like I'm a Jehovah's Witness. You know how they do. Ding dong. Oh, I got the beating of my life. My mama said it's Saturday morning between 10 and 2. Now, you know they come by and ring the doorbell? Don't go to that door. 12 o'clock, ding dong. "Hello, is your mama here?" "Wait a minute, mama, it's the people at the door." "Didn't I tell your black ass not to go to that door?" "What is you going to the door for? Who is at the door?" "Them people with them Bibles." "Pow, I'm not here, and I told you not to tell nobody I was here." My mama say she not here. Boy, that's so stupid. So I was afraid of becoming an outward man of faith because I didn't want God to make me do something that he wanted to do. I don't want to be no Bible thumping preacher. I ain't no holy roll. I ain't want to be no person when I walked in the room, everybody turned around. I didn't want to get on nobody's nerves like some of y'all. You ever call somebody's house and they got that answer machine with the whole book of John on it? You ever call somebody answer machine? "Dearly beloved, you know God loveth you and haveth hither not. Whenceforth thine own heart be true, knowing that Jesus loveth, crucified in the holy name, blood of the Lamb, washed in his beckoning power, knowing that he is essential to your life, blood of your loving, lasting Father. All these Christ and holy, henceforth and furthermore, asking all of these things with your righteous blood in your hand of him, knowing that all things is possible through Christ that loved the Lord, realizing that nothing comes without his strength. All things are possible of him that strengthens me. In Jesus' name, amen." Ooh, that sound of the tone, leave a message. Dog, I just called to say hi. Them people like that, I ain't want to be one.
Anyway, it's almost too much for me to comprehend. From where I started, raised in obscurity, in a little small farm community, and now to be here today is pretty awesome for me. So anyway, that's just a little bit about my story. My story is probably more intriguing for me than it is for you, but I wanted to hear it again, so I thought I would just, bore you with it. Anyway, I don't ask you to be impressed today. I'm the one that's impressed from where I came from to have a chance. But that's the American dream, right? Come true. Chance to start from scratch, start from obscurity, start with pennies, start with nothing, and have a chance. Transform your life, change your life, set your goals, and see what you can accomplish. So anyway, that's how I got here, and I'm just delighted that this day has arrived, and I truly want to make it valuable for you. Let's go to work. Here's what I hope you'll find out of this seminar today. For your notes, here's what I hope you'll find. Number one, sincerity. Above all else today, I hope you'll find me sincere. Best place for people to start to communicate sincerity on both sides. I'm sure you're sincere or you wouldn't be here today, right? Spend this kind of money, spend this kind of time, roll up your sleeves today, go to work like I am, and get this message. You've got to be sincere. So I assume you're sincere. Now I want you to see me sincere. But I've got a good note for you to make. Sincerity is not a test of truth. Important note to make. Sincerity is not a test of truth. We must not make the mistake of saying he must be right. He's so sincere. That would be a mistake. And here's why. It's possible to be sincerely wrong. So we don't mistake sincerity for truth, right? Sincerity is only a test of sincerity. Truth has to yet be tested by truth, okay? But hopefully you will find me. And truth. Next, a combination of things I hope you'll find here today. Ideas plus inspiration. Ideas plus inspiration. Ideas, business ideas and social ideas and personal ideas. We all need ideas, right? How to have a good day ideas. How to have a good year ideas. How to have your best year ever ideas. Good health ideas. Personal relationship ideas. How to deal with your family ideas. Sales management ideas, financial freedom for the future ideas. We all need good ideas. So today, I hope you gather up by note and by what you can remember a lot of ideas. I want to share as many with you as I possibly can in the time constraints we have. Today is going to go very rapidly. I used to think a day like this was a long day. Found out it's a pretty short day, but I'm going to go as fast as I can, share with you as many ideas as I possibly can. And here's why. Ideas can be life-changing. Ideas can be life-changing. And sometimes all you need is just one more in a series of good ideas. It's like dialing the numbers into the lock, right? You got 5 or 6 numbers dialed into the lock. The lock still won't come open, but you don't need 5 or 6 more numbers. Maybe you just need one more. And maybe a seminar like this could do it. A sermon could do it. The lyrics from a song could do it. The dialogue from a movie could do it. Conversation with a friend might do it. That one last piece you need, number. Dial it into the lock. That's it. The lock comes open. There's the door for you to walk through. And maybe this seminar today could furnish that for you. One more idea. I know you've come with a lot already. Sometimes we get the impression, I used to have that I only had this much going for me and I needed this much. Usually not true. And I'm sure not true of this audience where I find you today. As well dressed as you look today. As fine as you are sitting here today. It isn't that, you've got this much going for you and you need this much. I would assume you've got this much going for you and maybe all you need is just a few more thoughts, ideas, to furnish you some ways and means, turn your life into the dream you wanted. So, ideas. The seminar's going to be loaded with ideas. I want you to take good notes. But here's what else I hope you'll find here today, and that is inspiration. And who knows the mystery of inspiration? Why some people are inspired and some are not? You were inspired to get here. Some were not. Who knows the mystery of that? I don't know.
A friend of mine, he's a urologist now, used to play a lineman for Ohio State University. He said, Les, let me give you a free rectal. I said, no, buddy, you too motivated. Hope we don't roll like that, huh? My goal before leaving the planet is to reduce the number of kids that are impacted by autism, to find a cure for autism, to work to raise money and to raise awareness, to eradicate it from the planet before I leave here. What's your goal? What's your dream? What is it you want to do with your life? Dr. Joelle Martin said something that I love. She said, what would the world be like if everybody lived their dream? Here's what I found about life. It's not as complicated as I used to make it. I think that life is about dreams and stories. Everything that exists, the world at one time was barren, but everything that exists, hotels, planes, they weren't here. Everything that we see every day, computers, all of the things that we see, someone had a dream. Someone had a dream of a person standing on stage and their voice being amplified so they don't have to scream and yell and could be heard by thousands. Someone had that dream of how to transport us from one place to the other.
quickly and safely. The clothes you have on, where you're now seated, all came out of somebody's dream, the world's greatest achievement. What is your dream? I said that you have something special. I didn't say that just to be kind. I said it because it's true. You are God's chosen vessel. You were chosen, 1 out of 400 million sperm. You have something in you that when you were chosen, when you showed up, there's something in you that if you don't do it, all of us will suffer. Repeat after me, please. Live full, die empty. Let's say it again. Live full, die empty. Dr. Howard Thurman, one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Albert Schweitzer and Mahatma Gandhi, he was a very brilliant writer. He wrote some things that really grabbed me. He wrote, "Deep is the hunger, the voice of the genuine, the centering moment." During the time after receiving 238 radiation seed implants, I was reflecting on his words, and these words kept me up that night. He said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over. He said, but imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, and that you, for whatever reason, you never went after that dream. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those talents. You never used those gifts. And there they are standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever.
I remember the days where no one wanted to listen to me, so I'm always grateful when people do. I don't forget that. And so I spent more of my life a broke person than I have a rich person. And I spent more of my life someone nobody knew than that other people now do know, right? So I'm really grateful for it. It's not something that I take lightly. I don't take your time lightly either. So I have a huge ambition here, which is I'd like this next hour to help change your life. So I've set the bar high. We'll see whether or not we accomplish that, but at least make some kind of a difference in your life. So a couple things about sales I just want to say first. Facts tell, stories sell. And all the people that I know that are the best at influence or teaching influence are great storytellers. Their ability to make a point through a story is better than any fact that they can give you. And what I want to do first, because I want to set this straight because that was a really great introduction, I'd like you to know the person that existed prior to all that stuff Lee said. So I'd like to give you a little bit of hope. Is that good? Say yes. So I am an average, ordinary human being. And I don't like, when I speak, I don't like to be, I used to say I'm below average, but the fact is I don't think that's really true. I actually think everybody's born with giftedness. I think every single human being's born with some natural giftedness. And when you figure out what those gifts are, you use them in the service of other people, you start living a pretty blissful life. And for me, it didn't take very long for me to find out what my gifts were. It's not IQ, it's not that I'm 6'4", I'm not the strongest dude in the world, I'm not the funniest dude in the world, but I am a pretty good communicator and I'm a really good listener. I love being present with people, and one of my gifts is I sincerely care about people. And you ought to be thinking about what your gifts are. Because it's easy. You look at guys that I coach, if you look at some of the golfers that I coach or the UFC guys, my guy I coached last weekend won, Dominic Cruz, Michael Chandler's another buddy of mine. You look at these people that I work with, they could see their physical gifts. Chandler's got quads that are like this big, right? Or LeBron's 6'8", can jump out of a gym. We know those are the gifts. But what are your gifts? Like if you could take a real inventory of them, I ask high performers, even like you guys, what's your giftedness? And you'd have a hard time telling me because you discount what they are, right? You discount, maybe you're not like for me, we just did an IQ test in my family. I was 4th out of 4 people in my own house, right? That's a true deal. Not that I'm dumb, just I don't have a high IQ. I've been able to identify what my gifts are. I can transfer energy to people. I will outwork your ass, right? I'm intent. Those are gifts. And when you start to leverage your gifts, it doesn't feel like work anymore. So I always had these gifts that were mine. You've got yours. If you'll take an inventory of what they are, you'll be a more wealthy, productive person. I've been able to build a significant 9-figure net worth in my life. I've been able to coach some of the top athletes, entertainers, politicians on the planet, and I'm a goober. So I want you to think, if a goober dude like me can end up doing that stuff, what could you accomplish?
I have to say this first. No matter what you hear me say, no matter how I tell my story, no matter what piece of information I lay out in front of you, please tag that with "cause of God." You got to understand that about me. Look, sometimes when I'm talking and I'm sharing, it sounds like I'm talking about myself. But behind every sentence, I want you to say, "cause of God," because I get it. This brother Ricky Lewis, who is a dear friend of mine, probably one of the most dedicated Qs I've ever met in my life, really. When he presented the idea to me, I got to do a lot to move. I'm pretty busy. But when you hear a person introduce you with no introduction necessary, it's because I've accomplished so much. But it's cause of God, though. You know, look, my life is covered with grace and favor. I'm not a pastor by any stretch of the imagination. I got enough flaws to negate that statement off the top. But my life is favor.